Mario has been in a ton of games, especially on the Switch. And the first game was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which came out on April 28th, 2017 worldwide. Now this is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and that does not mean it comes with lettuce and tomato.
Oh great, how am I supposed to eat this Switch now?
Mario Kart 8 came out for the Wii U and was the best-selling game on that console for good reason. Mario Kart has always been an extremely successful series for Nintendo, ever since Super Mario Kart released for the Super Nintendo. And Mario Kart 8 took that series to new heights. Being the Deluxe version, this game came with all of the content that released with the base game and DLC for the Wii U. This included characters like Inkling, Link, and Isabelle, and all of the new tracks that came with them. But it didn't stop there. This game brought back double item boxes from Mario Kart Double Dash, which was a fan favorite then and now. This allowed for some great gameplay variations, and even though I only ever get coins from them, it's still really nice to have a chance to get an actual item. This game's main gimmick was anti-gravity, which allowed you to go upside down and race around tracks in ways you never were able to before. This made it so Nintendo could do a lot of fun things with visuals and gameplay. To unlock new things, you have to collect coins throughout your races. The more coins you collect, the more things you unlock. The best part about this is it's stacked for couch co-op, so if you played with friends, you can get 4 times the amount of coins that you would playing by yourself.
I need friends for that.
This is the #1 selling Switch game, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Especially with the Booster Pass, which just finished up, it doubled the amount of courses, adding new playable characters along with it too, which makes this the biggest Mario Kart game by far. Mario Kart 8 is one of the best Mario Karts ever made, and it is the most content of any Mario Kart game, so for $60, you can't go wrong, even if you don't get the Booster Pass. Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle released on August 29th, 2017 worldwide, and this game does not feel real. I have not yet and will probably never understand the hype that Rabbids had in the early 2000s. To me, it feels like a different flavor of Minions.
Ew, throw it away!
They're pretty much the same thing, except one's a rabbit. But Kingdom Battle is actually a really good game. It's a turn-based strategy game where you fight bosses and minions in different levels across the Mushroom Kingdom. The game's story is simple, it's just Bowser Jr. wants to impress his dad, so he just makes everything worse. And a group of fanboy Rabbids got sucked into the Mario world. The story wasn't anything crazy, but gameplay-wise, this game was awesome. It uses a tile system similar to what you'll see in other turn-based strategy games, and you move around the map to defeat your enemies using some weird weapons. Most of the charm from this game comes from it being a really different take on Mario RPGs. Having a turn-based game where you fight Rabbids was not on my list of things I expected to ever play, but I'll take it because it was pretty good. But you can find this game for about $20, and it's on sale a lot on the eShop, so I recommend if you haven't played it to check it out if you're into these kind of games. Super Mario Odyssey released on October 27th, 2017.
Give me every copy you have.
Mario Odyssey is the most recent 3D Mario game, kind of. All the 3D Mario games are at baseline great, but this game just does things to set it apart from the rest. In Odyssey, you go on an adventure alongside Cappy, a ghost that's taken over your hat. And like in other 3D Mario games, you go around to different worlds collecting stars. Well, in this case, moons. This game's main gimmick is that you could throw Cappy onto certain enemies and objects, which would allow Mario to become them. And in 2017, I worked with kids, and the amount of kids who got hit in the face with hats was unreal. This game starts off at 11. As soon as you turn it on, you start with Bowser and Mario fighting on top of an airship, and Mario getting flung off the side lands in the Cap Kingdom. This is where he meets Cappy, and your story really begins. The gameplay of this game feels just as good as this game looks visually. This is a great game to start for people who have never played a 3D Mario game. It has snappy and tight controls, and it feels really good to play. But this game is a completionist's nightmare. Instead of having the typical 120 stars, it has 880 separate moons for you to collect. Now, some are easier to get than others, some will just be sitting out on a stump, and others are hidden in areas you would never expect. All of the different areas you explore are beautiful and full of life, which makes exploring them a pleasure, even if you're not actively making progress. Mario Odyssey is an incredible time all the way through, and is one of the best games on the Switch, so if you haven't played it, what are you doing? Mario Tennis Aces released worldwide on June 22nd, 2018. Now, I'm not the biggest Mario Tennis fan, and this game doesn't really help my opinion of it change at all. I'm a big fan of Mario sports games, but the games on the Switch are pretty lacking. This game is fine. It's definitely better than whatever we got on the Wii U, but it still feels kind of lacking. This game looks beautiful visually. It doesn't have any problems there, but it's lacking in content. Nintendo had the brilliant idea on the Switch of instead of making things unlockable by playing the game, to drip feed the content over time. I could see how this would make sense in theory, but it doesn't work in practice. I want to be able to unlock these things by playing the games, not just get it for free by coming back in a month. And this game was lacking content off the bat. I beat the story mode for this game in under 6 hours. Now, I know nobody's playing Mario Tennis to play through a good story mode, but if this is the only thing for single player people to do, at least make it a little bit longer. But one thing this game did incredibly was the characters. They have a great roster of characters in this game, and gameplay wise, this is the best the series has ever felt. I just wish they had a different strategy of how to add content to this game. Maybe in a few years I'll have enough nostalgia for this game to think it's good, but as of right now, it just feels disappointing. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker came out worldwide July 13th, 2018. Now this isn't a game that you play as Mario, but it fits the bill loosely enough. This was an expansion on the puzzles that were in Mario 3D World, and I guess they had a lot more ideas than they thought because this game is full and it works really well. This game is a port of a Wii U game, and it has all of that content and some more that's themed off of Super Mario Odyssey. And this game doesn't do anything really crazy, it just feels like a good puzzle game with a Mario theme to it. Now, I was able to pick up this game for $30, so I don't have anything bad to say about it there, but for a full $60 price tag, I don't think this game is worth it. If you can find it for less than $60, I 100% recommend it. This game kind of flies under the radar because it's not your typical Mario experience, but if you like 3D puzzles, I think it's definitely worth checking out. Super Mario Party released on October 5th, 2018 worldwide and brought Mario Party back from the kart riding era.
Too bad, this game still stinks.
Super Mario Party suffers from mediocrity. Now don't get me wrong, I would still pick this game over Mario Party 9 or Mario Party 10, but this game is not what I want it to be. It has a lot of issues, like your dice only goes up to 6 instead of the 10 that it is in most of the other games, which makes every turn feel less impactful. Different characters also have different dice, and some are just better than others. The ability to add allies is extremely broken, and it really ruins the flow of the game when it makes it so one person has such an advantage over the others. And this game only has 4 boards.
What, are we rationing?
The boards are fine, but they're really small. I know you can only roll 1 to 6 in this game, but when you compare it to other titles in the series, it feels like they're starved for content. The one thing this game does better than the other titles, though, is it has 20 playable characters on the roster, which is the biggest of any in the series. And this game has 80 mini-games, and most of these games are extremely fun. Now, you can only play this game with Joy-Con, which turned a lot of people off, myself included. But considering how many of these games require motion controls, I'm not surprised they did it this way. Overall, this game is not bad. I think it's just not what fans were expecting, which is why a lot of people preferred the older Mario parties to this, but ultimately this game's not terrible. It's fun to go back and play here and there. Even though it's not the best Mario Party on the Switch, it's still fun. Smash Bros. Ultimate came out on December 7th, 2018. This is not a Mario game, but Mario is in it, so I would feel wrong not to include it briefly. This is a Smash Bros. Game. You know exactly what you're getting into when you buy it, but this game added every single character from any Smash Bros. Title back into this game. They also added back a load of new maps, and this game feels like the most complete Smash Bros. Experience because of how much content they have. Like I said, this isn't a Mario game, so I only wanted to mention it briefly, but as I'm sure you can tell, this game is incredible. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe released on January 11th, 2019 worldwide. Now, this is just a port of New Super Mario Bros. For the Wii U, along with the expansion Super Luigi U. Everybody has played at least one of the new Super Mario Bros. Games in their life. The first one came out for the DS, and they kept making them all the way to the Switch. And these games just got done to death. These games felt really fresh and interesting on the Wii and the DS, but when they kept making them over the years, it felt like a cash grab at some point. These came out pretty early in the Switch's life cycle, so I'm not surprised they ported these over to have a 2D Mario game available. And these aren't bad games by any means. But when there have been so many of them, it just feels a little drawn out. If only Nintendo were to release a new 2D Mario series that felt more fresh. A man can dream, can he? This game had some really good level designs, and the game overall felt really fun to play. But once you've played one of these games, you've pretty much played them all, because there's nothing that really sets this apart from the Wii version. And New Super Mario Bros. For the Wii U isn't bad, it's just when you have 6 games released over the course of a decade, it gets pretty old pretty quick. Yoshi's Crafted World released on March 29th, 2019 worldwide, and it's a typical Yoshi experience. It has you eating enemies, throwing eggs at things, and platforming around a 2D environment. Ever since Yoshi's Island, these games have felt pretty one-note to me. It's a decent tweak to the Mario formula, and I'm glad they do it, but I've never thought of these games as being anywhere as good as the Mario titles on the same console. One thing this game does really well, though, is that it's beautiful. All of the backgrounds look incredible, and all of the levels are full of interactive components that make this game really engaging. I like the DIY craft theme to this game. I didn't think it was going to work really well, but it ended up being something really interesting. I think this is a perfect game to get somebody into 2D platformers if they've never played them before. Yoshi games have never been extremely complicated, and this one isn't either, but I still think it's a fun time overall. Super Mario Maker 2 released on June 28th, 2019 worldwide, and it built upon the iconic formula of Mario Maker from the Wii U. It's no secret this game didn't get anywhere near as much attention as the Wii U version did. I remember a lot of people talking about Mario Maker for the Wii U, but when this game came out, it was like crickets. And the game is not bad by any means. Any game that allows you to build your own Mario levels and play others' levels has endless amounts of replayability, and this game is no exception. What sets this game apart from Mario Maker on the Wii U is that it added a 3D world edit style and added a bunch of new things for building even better worlds. I'm nowhere near good enough at Mario to be able to play some of these levels, but they are fun to give it a try. This game has a full story mode, but the real bread and butter here is creating your own world for your friends and family to enjoy. And this game does that really well. I think the Wii U had it easier because you had the tablet interface to use to build a level, and having a stylus to be able to place everything was just so crisp, but this game does a good job of mimicking that. The only limit to this game is how much creativity you have, so if there's something that you think you can do in this game, you can probably do it. This is a great game if you're a fan of building your own DIY Mario levels, but if you want to play a Mario game, just pick up something else, it'll be better. Luigi's Mansion 3 released on October 31st, 2019. This is intentionally Nintendo's spookiest series, so I think having a Halloween release date was a funny idea. Luigi's Mansion 3 is the spiritual successor to Hotel Mario and had you playing as Luigi exploring a haunted hotel. King Boo kidnaps Mario and friends and seals them inside of paintings, and it's Luigi's job to save them before they're sold to the Louvre. Luigi's Mansion's formula has never been something groundbreaking by any means, but it was always one of the most visually impressive games on every console it's on. Way back on the GameCube, Luigi's Mansion 1 was a launch title, and it showed how powerful the GameCube was when compared to the N64, and this game does the same thing for the Switch, even though it's not a launch title. The lighting and the atmosphere are incredible all the way through, and it shows how good the Switch's graphics can really be, even though it's weaker than the competition. Gameplay-wise, this is exactly what the others have been, sucking up ghosts and collecting money throughout your journey, and it's nothing to write home about, but it's fun nonetheless. This game has a lot of additional content as well, like a mini-game mode and a multiplayer option, which makes this the best game in the series in my opinion. I recommend this game to anybody because it's simple enough that a kid can play it, but still really fun all the way through. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 released on November 5th, 2019 in North America, November 1st, 2019 in Japan, November 8th, 2019 in Europe, and in Australia.
Oh god, not this again.
The Mario and Sonic at the Olympics series has always been pretty much the same thing over and over again, but I will say this is my favorite installment in the series. This game seems to have the most attention to detail in the entire series, and even added 2D events, which I think are really fun. Now, we all know that the Olympics did not happen in 2020, but this game still came out and was a pretty big success. I think having the 2D 1964 Olympics in this game made it appeal to a wider audience than normal, which helped this game overall, and I think this game did a lot of things that were better than the other games in the series. This game, the characters actually wear appropriate attire for the events they're participating in, which I think was cool, and has a pretty sizable roster of characters to play as, which I think was a nice touch. We haven't had one of these games in a few years, and with the Paris Olympics only being a few weeks away, I don't think we're getting a new one anytime soon. But if they were to make another one, I would like it to be something like this game. Paper Mario The Origami King came out on July 17th, 2020 worldwide, and it was the 6th Paper Mario game. I'll be honest, I don't think this game was that bad, but I prefer a lot of other Paper Mario games to it. Origami King loosely brought back some mechanics from older Paper Mario games that were missing in some of the newer titles, like having a cast of side characters that you can bring along with you on your journey. Even though these characters don't compare to ThousandYear Door, I think they were still interesting enough. I don't think these games were the best Paper Mario games by any means, but I don't understand a lot of the hate it gets. The majority of the hate this game gets is because of the battle mechanics, and I understand that because they get stale very quickly, but in the early game, I think they were really fun. I think this game's biggest crime is the fact that the main antagonist organization is the Legion of Stationery. I get this game is about paper, but having a ball of rubber bands, a stapler, and scissors be the bosses was really weird. If they just had a bunch of normal bosses and added in a stapler as one of the bosses, I think it would be a funny joke, but having it done to death is just too much. Paper Mario has always been a series that I've enjoyed very much, and this game is kind of in the middle of the pack for me. I don't think it's the worst game by any means, but it's definitely not as good as I want it to be. Super Mario 3D All-Stars released on September 18th, 2020 worldwide. This was released for Mario's 35th anniversary and was a compilation of 3 3D Mario games, including Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy.
I guess we really are rationing.
To this day, I'm still annoyed they didn't include Super Mario Galaxy 2, but I guess it's fine because they still have 3 titles on it. But the biggest problem with this game is that you can't buy it anymore. I understand this was a limited release for an anniversary for Mario, but Super Mario Sunshine has only been released twice. It was originally released on the GameCube, and then it got re-released in this collection on the Switch. You couldn't buy it on the Wii, you couldn't buy it on the Wii U, and now the only way to own it is if you own a classic copy from the GameCube or you bought this when it was available. Now, I own this game, so I'm not super salty about it, but I know a lot of people who got a Switch after this game stopped being sold and is no longer able to access this game without paying a huge markup. You can at least play Super Mario 64 on NSO, but you weren't able to do that with the other 2 games. On the Wii, they had Super Mario Allstars, which came with a bunch of the 2D Mario games, but you could still buy those on the Wii Virtual Console. And we don't have the Virtual Console anymore, so it's impossible to access some of these games now. Gameplay-wise, I think they did a really good job porting these games over to the Switch. They all play pretty well on the Switch, except for Mario Galaxy, which plays fine, but it took some getting used to. My only other complaint about this game is that when Super Mario All-Stars released, it came with an art book and a nice sleeve for the game, and it made it feel like a real limited edition, but this game just came wrapped in plastic. I wish they made it feel more like an exclusive copy instead of it just being a timed release. This game is only going to go up in value, so if you own it, hold on to it, and if you don't own it, I recommend buying it because it's worth it. Super Mario 35 released on October 1st, 2020, and was another celebration game for Mario's 35th anniversary. Similar to Tetris 99, this was a competitive version of the original Super Mario Bros., which had 35 players play the game simultaneously in a battle royale fashion. The game was only available until March 31st, and it was fun while it lasted, but I'm glad they got rid of it. They've started making more and more of these type of games, with the current one being F-Zero, and it works really well. And I think rotating these games out keeps the player bases alive and moving from game to game, which keeps it interesting. The game is simple, but I think it's a good idea for a limited time game, and if Nintendo's going to do limited time games, this is a great way to do it. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit released on October 16th, 2020 worldwide, and brought toys to life to an entirely new meaning. This is an interesting idea because it took a physical Mario Kart RC car toy and made it a home racetrack game. It's essentially just an RC car with an augmented reality track system. And I've played it briefly at my cousin's house, and I have to say this game is fine. It doesn't compare to Mario Kart 8, but it also isn't anything special. If you like RC cars, this is the game for you, but for me, as someone who just likes the regular Mario Kart experience, I would pass on this game because it doesn't seem worth it. Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury released on February 12th, 2021 worldwide. This is a port of Super Mario 3D World, and it included the new Bowser's Fury game mode. The 3D World port was spot on. I think they did a great job bringing this over from the Wii U to the Switch. This is a hybrid 2D and 3D Mario game, and I think it's done really well. It has a linear aspect of the 2D games where you're racing to a flagpole, but it offers a 3D environment to move around in. This is the first time Mario made his first appearance in a cat costume, and it makes me very uncomfortable to see Mario and Bowser wearing these power-ups, but I guess it works well. I own this on the Wii U and the Switch, and I think getting it on the Switch was definitely worth it. The Bowser's Fury game mode was essentially just a new game inside of this one. It offered a full 3D open world environment to go through, and even though it was pretty short, I felt it was substantial enough for me to rebuy this game. Who am I kidding? I would have bought this game either way, but having a whole extra game inside this game felt really nice. Fighting a dark Giga Bowser equivalent while you get to watch Mario turn into a Super Saiyan cat was not something I had on my 2021 bucket list, but I'm glad I got it nonetheless. Mario Golf Super Rush released on June 25th, 2021 worldwide, and is the latest installment in the Mario Golf series. And similar to Mario Tennis, this game just feels lacking. I will say this is my favorite Mario sports game on the Switch, and I did have a lot of fun playing it. Now, if you've played any of the Mario Golf games, you'll understand that these games are extremely simple but loads of fun. What made this game special and stand out is that it had Speed Golf as a game mode. In Speed Golf, you hit a ball and you chase after it to where it lands and take your next shot from there. This game had a good variety of characters like King Babam and Ninji, and each character had his own specialty shot and specialty dash, which made it interesting to play them. This game suffered in the same way Mario Tennis did, and it didn't have any good unlockables throughout the game, and once you're done playing it, you really had nothing else to do. This game I feel is more replayable than Mario Tennis, but at the end of the day, I wish they added more to it. Mario Party Superstars released on October 29th, 2021 worldwide, and was the first Mario Party game that really returned to its roots and went back to what Mario Party used to be. This game is a collection of old Mario Party maps and mini games from across the N64 era and beyond. All of the maps are from the N64 games, and it has a collection of different mini games from the best of the best in the Mario Party series. This game returns to having a dice block that rolls to 10, and since you're playing on boards that are ports from the N64 games, they're all pretty solid. This game only has 5 boards, and I really don't know why Mario Party has decided they want to hold out on content recently. Even with the lack of boards though, this is the best way to play Mario Party on the Switch so far. It's the most authentic Mario Party experience we've had since Mario Party 8. Now this game isn't perfect, it got rid of half of the characters from the last game, which having 20 characters is a bit overkill, but it's still nice to have more than 10. I'm someone who likes to play the most obscure character they possibly can in a Mario Party game, so having fan favorite characters only is kind of disappointing. The main issue with this game though is that there are no unlockables besides small things like stickers and music tracks, which was not enough to keep me playing this game. I'm a sucker for the old Mario Party games, so this game is going to scratch that itch for me, but at the end of the day, I wish it had more, and I'm really hoping that Mario Party Jamboree is even better. Mario Strikers Battle League released on June 10th, 2022 worldwide and is the most recent incarnation of the Mario Soccer series. This game feels like it was lacking a lot, and even though it did have some new things like customizing the gear on your characters, it felt like it was a very bare bones Mario Strikers experience. I put a lot of time into this game and I'm not proud of it. I think what made this game so disappointing is that it was so close to being a good Mario sports game, but it was still so far away. They ended up drip feeding the content just like the other Mario sports games, and it made it so when you're playing this game, you run out of stuff to do, and then you stop playing it for a month, and then you come back, and it's like they added 100,000 things at once, and none of them are fun. I really hope they keep making Mario sports games, but they'll learn from their recent failures and improve them in the long run. Mario & Rabbids Sparks of Hope released on October 20th, 2022 worldwide. This is a direct sequel to the game that came out years earlier, and it still has a lot of the same mechanics that you'd expect from the first game. If you played the first game, you'll probably like this game.
Man, I hate these things.
This game doesn't do anything special to set it apart from the original, and considering how well the first game performed, I'm surprised this game didn't do very well. I didn't realize this game was coming out though until after it had already released, and with a $60 price tag, this game was not a great deal. I think most people who got the first game got it for around $20 like I did, so when I saw this game was so much more expensive, I did not want to pick it up. So I waited, and I waited until it dropped to about $20 and picked it up then. This game is loosely themed off of Mario Galaxy and introduces Rabbid Rosalina to the game. I feel like the game would have done way better if it was an expansion pass to the first game instead of a full-price sequel, but I did really enjoy my time with this game, so if you're a fan of the first and you haven't played it yet, try and pick it up for around $20 and it's well worth it for that price. Super Mario Bros. Wonder released on October 20th, 2023 worldwide. This is the first new 2D Mario game to have released for the Switch. Mario Wonder is so refreshing after so many years of new Super Mario Bros. Series running the show. This game has a brand new art style, which I was skeptical about at first, but it's grown on me a lot after playing it. This is the weirdest Mario game I've ever played, and not in a bad way. And they didn't try and hide it, which I think is a great idea. From elephants being one of the main power-ups to having singing piranha plants, this game fully embraces the wacky side of Mario in the best way. This game introduces a new badge system, which gives certain power-ups based on whatever badge you have equipped. This game has more playable characters than any 2D Mario before it, allowing you to play as most of your favorite characters from the Mario series. The only returning power-ups are the basic ones like Super Mushrooms, Fire Flowers, and Stars, and all the new power-ups they added are really fun. Mario Wonder is a breath of fresh air the 2D Mario games desperately needed, and I really hope this game either gets additional content or a sequel sometime soon. Super Mario RPG released on November 17th, 2023, and is a remake of the classic Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars, which came out for the Super Nintendo. This game completely overhauled all of the graphics while keeping the same gameplay from the original game, and it's one of the best Mario RPGs around. This game also added some new features like the ability to refight bosses at the end of the game. Having a new game plus type mode in any game is a great way to keep me playing it after I beat it, and I love that they did it with this game. The original game was made by Square, so if you like the Final Fantasy games, this game is absolutely for you. It has some great characters that are beloved to this day like Geno, and it's weird to me that this game isn't as popular as I thought it would be. A lot of people say this is the best Mario RPG ever made. I wouldn't go that far myself, but I will say this game is just as enjoyable today as it was on the Super Nintendo. My main problem with this game is it's kind of short, but if you're looking for something to pick up and play over the weekend, this is a perfect game to do so. Mario vs. Donkey Kong released on February 16th, 2024, and is a remake of the Game Boy Advance game from 20 years earlier. This is a simple little puzzle game where you go around solving puzzles and saving mini Marios. Like I said, this is a remake of a Game Boy Advance game, and it really does feel like that still. Even with all the graphical updates, this game is lacking content in the worst way possible. I like all the puzzles and I found this game to be decent enough, but for $60, this game feels like a waste of money. They should have released this game for $30, maybe $40 and it would have been worth it, but for $60, this seems like a lazy attempt at a game. I wish they added more to this game like they did with games like Captain Toad, where they added additional levels based off of modern Mario games. If you like this game for the Game Boy Advance, maybe check it out, but it's not worth it if not. Princess Peach's Showtime released on March 22nd, 2024, and was the first game to star Princess Peach since Super Princess Peach released on the DS. This game fits in the same category of Yoshi's Crafted World, where I don't think this game did anything crazy that makes it a must-play, but it's still really fun if you want to play it. This game gives Peach a bunch of different abilities like Kung Fu, being a cowgirl, and being a mermaid. The thing I think this game does best is it looks incredible graphically. It's been a long time since Peach has had her own game, and this game is very different from the last one she got. This game is not a Game of the Year contender by any means, but it still does a lot of things well. I think it was really fun all the way through, and similar to Luigi's Mansion, this game looks beautiful. But this game only took me about 10 hours to beat in its entirety. Which, not to sound like a broken record, but I would be fine with this if it wasn't priced at $60. If you think this is something you might like, I recommend giving it a go, but if you pass on this game, you're not missing out on anything crazy. Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door released on May 23rd, 2024, and it's a port of the GameCube title that was a groundbreaking entry in the Paper Mario franchise. The first time I played this game as a kid, I didn't remember much of it, so when I hopped back into this game on the Switch, I thought this game was better than I even remembered. Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door is the best Paper Mario game by a pretty wide margin, and it's not just because I like doors.
Man, this thing is still great.
And this game isn't just a copy-paste of the GameCube title. It had a lot of graphical adjustments, a remastered soundtrack, and other quality-of-life improvements. The Thousand-Year Door is one of the best stories in Paper Mario, and I think it's by far the best in combat. The combat is simple but captivating because it has all of the characters you go on your journey with having their own functions, and the theater mechanic makes it really interesting to play these games. Most of the charm from this game comes from the characters you meet along the way. This game had a perfect level of humor to it, and every single character you talk to usually has a little funny thing to say. This game is a lot longer than I remember it being, but I had so much trouble putting it down when I was playing it, I didn't really notice. This is a must play for me. If you like any RPG games, I feel like you will like this game a lot. The Paper Mario series has had a lot of different variations over the years, and I think this title overall is the best one you can play. It has a great story, great pacing, and great gameplay, and that's all you can ask for. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD released on June 27th, 2024 across the world. This is a remaster of Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, which released on the 3DS. I never played Dark Moon on the 3DS, so this was my first time playing this game, and it was a really great time from start to finish. Like in every Luigi's Mansion game, your goal is to defeat King Boo. Just like Luigi's Mansion 3, this game looks beautiful and has tons of personality. All of the different areas in this game felt interesting in their own way. Like I said before, this game doesn't have the most interesting gameplay, but it's definitely a fun little puzzle game for you to play. What this game does best is have a great atmosphere that makes this game hard to put down. All of the Luigi's Mansion games are fun, and this is no exception. I really recommend this game to anybody who's liked any of the prior games. The last two games are slated for release in 2024, being Super Mario Party Jamboree and Mario & Luigi Brothership. I know both of these games are going to be great, but the game I'm most excited for is Mario & Luigi Brothership. The Mario & Luigi series is underrated, and I think that people who have played these games understand how good these games really are. I already know I'm going to pick up these games as soon as they release, so as soon as I have a more concrete opinion on them, I'll make a video. But every Mario game on the Switch is worth checking out in their own right. There's really something for everybody, and I think Nintendo has done a great job giving this the most diverse Mario game slots we've ever gotten. The Switch is the longest running Nintendo console of all time, and it's going into its 8th year this year, and I don't see any signs of slowing down. I hope the next Nintendo console has Switch backwards compatibility, because I would really like to see a lot of these games get ported over to the next console, or just to be able to play the ones I already own.